What's up, friend? My name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. And I'm going to talk about triads in this video, how to really get triads deep into your playing. Triads are kind of like the missing link on our guitar necks. If you understand triads really well, you'll understand more about chord shapes, how to build chords on the guitar neck. You'll understand more about your scale shapes, and you'll be able to visualize just more things around the guitar neck. So many things will become so much easier if you have a really good command of triads. And I like it when things are nice and easy. So that's why we're going to take a look at triads in this video. If you want to get a little bit of a better handle on what triads are in a theoretical sense, go ahead and download my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet. You can find it linked below. So if you've tried to learn triads in the past, it might look something like this. For the sake of this video, I'm going to keep things in the key of G. So if we start with a root position triad, and by the way, I'm going to keep everything on this string set D, G, and B. If you've tried to learn triads before, it might look something like this. Here's a G. I need to go from root position to first inversion to second inversion and back down. And this is fine for sort of the first elements of it. But what happens as we develop this sort of process over time, we do that with all of our triads, A minor, B minor, and so on and so forth. As we develop this sort of horizontal approach, we kind of get stuck into a little bit of a box, meaning like, okay, I need to play like a C up here. I need to find it. What should I do? Well, let me start back, down. Okay, there it is. Now I can find it. You have to kind of go back to your home base and find where that chord exists up the guitar neck. We want to avoid that. We want to get beyond that. What we really want to develop with our triads is true command, being able to understand the triad shapes everywhere on the fretboard, like G, C, D, G, A minor, E minor, C, D, G, F, C, D, G, F, G. Being able to just quickly access all of those shapes no matter where we are. That's the goal. And the best way that I've found to practice these is through voice leading. In essence, all voice leading really is just very small movements between chord tones or voices. So let me just give you a brief example, then I'll put chord shapes up and we'll kind of go through this as a little bit more of an exercise. So here is a root position G major chord. It's spelled G, B, D. The closest C chord I can get to that is this second inversion C chord here. I have a common G note. I'm moving the B up to C, just a half step, and I'm moving the D up to E, up a whole step. That's the closest C chord. That's the closest, the smallest movement I can do to get a C chord out of that. So we want to voice lead our triad shapes, but in a very specific way. We're going to play the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord in whatever key we are practicing. Again, in this video, I'm going to keep things to the key of G. Now, why 1, 4, and 5? These are what we call our primary chords. These are primary chords to the key that we're in, the key of G. 1, 4, and 5. So if I do that, and you can follow along with me with these shapes, we're going to notice a couple things here. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to start at this root position G major chord. And I'm going to leave the G. We're going to go to C chord. C is our 4 chord, like we already kind of just did. G, A, B, C. C is our 4 chord. I'm going to build this C chord around this shape here. So G stays, B goes to C, up a half step, and D goes to E, up a whole step. I'm going to go back to G, and then I'm going to find my 5 chord, G, A, B, C, D. It's a D chord. D can stay, and instead of B, we have an A, and instead of G, we have an F sharp. And those are my primary chords in position on this string set. G, C, G, D, and G. Now, here's a couple things that we notice when we do this. We're actually utilizing all of our inversions of our triads, just like we would go up the neck. G, 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 or root position, first inversion, second inversion. We're utilizing all of those shapes, but in a condensed area, which means we're able to get to know those shapes a lot better than just a means to get to the next shape, right? We're actually kind of taking careful consideration at how the notes are arranged in these arrangements, in these chord shapes. This means that every single position that we do this in, we're going to be looking for all three of those triad shapes. So let me explain. We'll keep going here. So G, root position. And really all we need to do is focus on the root notes. Okay, and we can build the rest of the chord shape around the root notes. Where's my closest C? It's right there. That's going to be right in the middle of my D, G, and B string set. C's in the middle, which is going to make this a second inversion triad. If I go back to my root position, so I've already got root position, I got second inversion. The next one, by process of elimination, is I'm going to be looking for a first inversion triad. Where? I need to look for a D note somewhere. And since it's going to be on this B string, it's going to be on the top voice. I can build the first inversion triad around it. So seeing where the root notes are in all of our chord shapes is key. That's going to help you actually process these and get to know these shapes better. Root position, it's on the bottom. Second inversion, it's in the middle. First inversion, it's on the top. Let's move up the guitar neck and do our next shape. So now G is in first inversion here. So my G is on the top part of this chord. If we already kind of saw this trick, I don't really say trick because it's just observing music as it exists in the real world. As we saw with our previous shape, moving B to C got us in the right location. So there's my B. I can move it to C, which is going to be on my D string. So that should already tell me that I'm going to be building this chord from the ground up, from the root note up. So that means it's root position. Go back to G. If I've already got first inversion and I've already got root position, I'm going to be looking for a second inversion triad. And I'm going to look for where that D is. And again, it needs to be in the middle of my chord here. So there's my D. It lines up perfectly with my first inversion G chord. And there's my D note. I'm going to start to play little passages. Let's move up to second inversion. G is now in the middle. I'm going to try to move B to C to find where that root note is for my C chord, the 4 chord. It's on top, so that's going to trigger me to think first inversion, second inversion. I must be looking for a root position D chord. I've already got second inversion and first inversion. So D, the 5 chord, is going to be root position. There's my D root. And then back. So now we're still practicing this sort of up the neck, but we're doing it positionally. 1 chord, 4, 5, 1. 1, 4, 5, 1. 1, 4, 5, 1. You'll probably start to recognize some familiar motions that you may have played in songs before as well. These are really good connections that we want to make. So you might recognize this 1 chord, second inversion to first inversion 4 chord. That looks a lot like this. That's exactly what that is. That part is in the key of A. We're doing A, D, back to A, kind of basing the entire solo part around those two chords. Same thing with this. Same sort of triadic motion that we're doing there. Now, while we're wrapping up here, I want to just show you a little bit of the benefit of really getting a good command of your triads on the fretboard. Triads are the missing link. They help us to understand music and guitar playing in more detail, like this. So I'm going to play this little solo. You probably already recognize it here. So this solo, Comfortably Numb, is incredibly focused on chord tones out of the triads. One of the most important things you can learn before approaching a guitar solo is the chord progression that the guitar solo is happening on. So the chord progression of that solo is D to A, back to D, to A, to C, to G, to C, and then back to G again. So now I'm going to build this solo just using chord shapes. So here's D, A, D again, A, C, G, back to C, G, and then I end on A. This solo is so much easier to understand through the lens of triads and chord tones than it would ever be trying to look for a scale shape to try to fit all that stuff into. You still can. Technically, we could still find all of these notes out of the D major and the C major scale. We could still find all those out of those scales. However, learning the triads points us in the direction a lot faster. So triads are amazing to learn. Use the exercise that I gave you in this video to master them on the fretboard. Let me know in the comments below if you found this helpful. My name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. If you want to learn a little bit more about triads, the theory of triads, download my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet, and I'll see you next time.